Lime Street was known as Lambkin Lane because here where Lime Street station stands were lime kilns belonging to a certain Mr. Harvey. And it wasn't until the 1749 infirmary was built on the site of St. George's Hall. Now the doctors complained that the fumes from the kilns were bad for the patients in the infirmary. The kilns, unfortunately, were demolished around 1806. Therefore, with the demolition of the kilns and no kilns to be seen, they had to change its name from Lambkin Lane to Lime Street, which we fondly know today. By 1830, it was the great age of the railway. A mile or two up the road was Edgehill Station. However, the railway really needed to come into the heart of the city, and the chosen venue, Lime Street Station. Stations up and down the country were going to be transformed also, and Lime Street was going to be no exception, with Romanesque facades. Liverpool's first-class architect, John Foster Jr., was brought in to give the new station a Roman theme, Roman arches. And remember, until very recently, these arches were hidden away for many, many years by some hideous, hideous buildings. Look at them now, just how John Foster Jr. envisioned in all the glory, and aren't they just beautiful? By 1836, and with the station in place, the infirmary had now become a lunatic asylum. The asylum had to go because it was only the rich people at the time that could afford to go on the trains, and they didn't want to see the lunatics walking about the grounds of the lunatic asylum. So the lunatic asylum was demolished in 1836, and by the following year a competition was held to build a grand building on the site, and this was the outcome: Harvey Lonsdale Elms's St. George's Hall. If you think this is impressive, wait till you come with me next door. How's this for a B&B? Because the rich people coming into Liverpool couldn't stay in lodging houses. So Sir Alfred's Waterhouse built this magnificent Western hotel. And at one time, it was huge for the amount of rooms it had, 300 in total. Prior to the First World War, Liverpool's red light district was down at the pier head. And for obvious reasons, the area became restricted at the outbreak of the 1914-18 conflict. So from the pier head, all the prostitutes had to ply their trade here at Lime Street Station. And who's the most famous of them all? Maggie May. So much so, they even named a song after Maggie herself. Here on the plateau stands a statue of Major General William Earl, a Liverpool lad who was actually born in 1833, Hope Street. William Earl joined the army in 1851 and rose through the ranks, achieving the rank of Major General in 1880, the same year that Liverpool received its city status. He sailed up the Nile and his commands were split into two. He went on to fight the enemy who was actually skirmishing with the British, and his other commands went on to Khartoum. Unfortunately, the following year in 1885, he was killed while storming the enemy. He was brought back to Liverpool to be buried at Allerton Cemetery. The statue was unveiled on December the 16th, 1887, and the sculptor was C.B. Birch. And here are our wonderful cenotaph, along with thousands of others. He's remembered every year.